All right. So, I am going to replay this game, Korean Bullock, because I want to make a sequel to it. It's been 4 years since I released this. Wow, it's a long time. Basically, I want to make a sequel to it, as I discussed on my Patreon, and I did a little poll asking what y'all would think of a live replay or reaction to it would be. And three people were like, "Yeah, do it." So I'm doing it. And streaming is not meh. I'm not good at streaming, so I'm gonna record it and then put it online after that. So I'm going to do that now. I'm very nervous about doing this. I know this now. Yeah, this is a lot less pretentious than I remember it. Yeah. Mm. I have a lot of resources here. Yeah, I did a lot of research on this one. So many things. I remember borrowing a fuck ton of books from the library when I was first doing this. I didn't read all of them, but I read some of them. Uh, yeah, so yeah, this is basically a copy paste of my notes, my notepad. I need to do TXT file notes um, of things. When I do research on things, I do a TXT file with all the notes, all the links to things, so I have them on me and I can just grab them when I need them. So yeah, so this is just all that. Just copy pasted in here. Definitely should check this out at one point. I should look into this more. But I don't want to linger too much on this part of the game. I want to read the main part of the game. So, yeah, support my patron, coward. um, but seriously, if you're listening to this and you like my work at all, like the best way to show that is supporting me on Patreon. Like even $1 a month would help show me that I'm not doing this for no goddamn reason. Because sometimes it feels like I'm just throwing dust in the wind and it gets blown back in my face. Like, why did I throw that? Why did I put that out there? It wasn't worth it. Sometimes it feels like that when you're creating a bunch of shit. But, you know, show me I'm not doing this for nothing, I guess. Um, so this is a real thing for me, and this is what I struggle with leaving Christianity entirely because of this whole thing here, where I talk about how I used to be a habitual liar, and I prayed and woke up the next day and I was free of that burden. So that's why I'm struggling with leaving entirely. I have like one toe left in Christianity. One fucking toe out of all my body is left in there, and the rest of it is I guess this doesn't work anymore. That's a shame. Damn. There's a very good glossary too. Fuck. Um, so I got one toe of my whole body left, like poking in the Christianity zone, and the rest of me is fuck that noise because it's exhausting. I don't. I want you to understand this very. I want you to understand this very carefully, please. It is so exhausting when you hear over and over from your entire existence when you hear from the church that your entire existence is invalid and that you should not exist, and they don't want you to exist, they want you to die, or they want you to go away or disappear. It's one of the most exhausting things I've ever been through, and I've been through a lot of fucking exhausting things in my life. So just keep in mind that that's the context here, that I am very exhausted and tired of being in a church that hates me. Mm. Yeah, this short story collection is not available anymore. I took it offline because I was like, oh, I should release this thing. And I did it very impulsively. But now I'm like, no, I should keep that away, hide it away, wait to actually publish it on some small press or some shit instead of just throwing it out to the world and hoping the world receives it. I'm trying to be a little wiser about how I release things than I used to be. Yeah. I'm definitely not as non-binary. I'm non-binary still, but I'm a transgender man first, and then non-binary second. Like I'm a guy who doesn't mind his feminine side and likes his feminine side. That's the best way I can use to describe myself. Is that I'm a guy who likes his feminine side very much. Yeah. And I can definitely say to you now in 2021, my commitment to God is like, no. Like, I don't have that anymore. I don't have a commitment to God anymore. I just released on Patreon a little essay the other day. Let me find it really quick. Here it is. Yeah, I did this little essay where I talked about how I don't make things for higher powers anymore. And I can use my works that changes how I make things, basically. And I used to be very into the whole Jesus thing, I guess you can say. And this is when I was very into it, and I wanted to find the balance. I wanted to find a place to belong in the church, and I was very much wanted that. So I studied a lot of queer theology in order to make a space that fits. But now, that was me in 2017. Me now is like, the church doesn't want me, so I don't want it anymore. And that is how I feel. It's harder than I thought. It's harder than I thought it was gonna be. Anyway, yeah, I still struggle with this. Whether asking myself whether my gender identity formed as a result of trauma. Um, and I'm thankfully my androphobia, fear of men, has decreased significantly since then, since 2017. But I still get paralyzed around groups of men, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't fit in. But I'm like, dude, you're one of the guys, whether they know that or not. Fuck it. Just embrace that. And I'm trying to do that more often, but it's really fucking hard. It's very difficult to try to be one of the two guys who don't know you're a guy. It's fucking hard. So yeah, I still struggle with wondering whether my gender is from a defense mechanism about me trying to compensate for my womanhood for manliness. I still wonder this sometimes, but I'm trying to be more confident in my identity and myself and say, even if it is that, the point is that your gender is male. That's the point of it. That's the end. That's the end statement. And if you need to change yourself to get to that point, then that's what you have to do. I didn't, as of this recording, I am still not on hormones. No hormone replacement therapy yet. And I've seen my friends go on hormones before me, which is kind of funny. But I want to be on hormones. I really want a beard someday. I really want a goatee. I really crave manliness in all its forms, physical forms, and I just can't get there, but I can try to get halfway there with HRT. If that makes any sense. So yeah, this is very accurate, this section here. Yeah. I definitely changed a lot since I wrote this in terms of gender identity. I've been more accepting of my masculine side instead of trying to be like, oh, I'm non-binary, but I'm still girl, right? Like, no, you're not. Not anymore. Sorry, you were never girl. Embrace that fact. It's fine. Um, yeah. Yeah, this is kind of fucking understatement, this sentence. Uh, 20 years, yeah, mostly of our entire existence as queer people has been queer community like, like just today I stumbled across this uh, conservative propaganda in the mail. Let me find it super quick. Yeah, here. That conflated queerness with accepting pedophilia. And this is from a conservative Christian organization saying this bullshit. So to say, oh, the church has struggled with the community for a long time is a fucking understatement. Like, Christian community has fucking hated queer people for as long as queer people have been out. It's a fucking long time to be hated for who you are. Yeah. And for me, it's really funny because, like I say here, I've seen a lot of Christians who don't get it, don't get what queerness is, except for gay, they gay, be gay, or they be trans, or men's women's bathrooms. And it's like, that's not the entire discussion. That's the part you've been spoon fed by fucking propaganda bullshit. If you open your eyes and do the research, you can understand the queer community more. And a lot of people don't bother. They stay in a little box like, oh, the trans are taking over the world. Like, fuck you. Fuck you for not caring about us enough to do the minimum research that required to understand us. Fuck you. Yeah, fog of disdain is a good phrase. Go past me. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, the whole reason, I don't know if I'd ever discussed this publicly actually. The whole reason I wrote uh this essay was because I was at a Christian conference in 2016, I think. Or was it 2017? Probably 2017. That summer, I was at a Christian conference. And there were people speaking about queer people there in a very, how do I put this? Very negative ways, to say the least. And it was very disheartening as a non-binary person struggling with themselves to just be basically spit on speech after speech after speech it was very disheartening. And I was like, well, there's got to be something. There's got to be some way to fit in here. And I was just like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna write this fucking essay about your bullshit and dive in and dissect it. And I'm going to do that. So I did it. And I was like, where do I release this? Where do I put this on the internet? And I was like, what if interactive fiction competition? Because it was very on a whim thing. Because of my ADD, I did a lot more things on a whim back then. I take Vyvanse now for my ADD, so I have less on a whim things going on inside of me because of my ADD is more regulated now. But back then, I did a lot of things on a whim. This was made on a whim of fuck you, like a fuck you kind of instinct, impulsive thing. And I was just like, I'm gonna do this. So I did it. And then I was like, oh, interactive competition. What if I release it there? Because why not? Because I was just like, where else am I gonna put it? What else do I know about that I can put this in? So I decided to impulsively email the organizer, who at the time was Jonathan. What's his last name? Oh my gosh, I think his last name starts with I, so I'm just gonna say Jonathan I. I don't remember his last name right now. Or maybe it's M. I hope it's not M. I'm gonna say Jonathan instead of that Jonathan I. Jonathan. So I emailed Jonathan and I was like, hey, can you release nonfiction things in the interactive competition? And he said yes. So I was like, okay, throw this into the world. Be free, my child. And the best compliment I ever got for this essay was in the anonymous feedback that they put in that year. That was the first year of anonymous feedback in the interactive competition. And someone told me, finally, a game I could show to my mother. And I was just like, yes, educate the people. uh, so yeah. And this is a very disheartening thing that still occurs. This whole paragraph here. That, oh, queer people just think we hate them because West Bar Baptist Church. It's like, no. Look at how Christianity is represented around the USA right now. Look at the most prominent people who are looking at trans people like that. Like hating trans people. It's not that we think you hate us. We fucking know you hate us. Because of how public policy is dictated based on transphobia and homophobia. And if you want to stand up as a loner and say, I don't hate you, good, do that. But also know that your community needs to be changed too. And that you have to be the first one in your community to stand up and try to get to know the queer community as they are. Because if you don't, we're just going to think you fucking hate us. And I want to see more Christians who stand up in the face of all these other Christians, the waves of Christians hating queer people. I want to see a resistance movement within the Christian church that says, we like you as you are. And that's a very tiny, tiny voice right now, unfortunately. It's not a very prominent one. But if y'all didn't hate us, it would have been way more vocal right by now. That's all I got, man. Yeah. So yeah, ignoring and in the hope the other side gets over it, which is not the same as giving someone space, is entirely the wrong approach to me, whether it be a personal relationship or a nationwide one. We also have a healthy discussion to understand why the other side doesn't like us and set things straight. This starts on an individual level, but it must start. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good line. This starts on an individual level, but it must start. It's a good line. Yeah, and I give a brief overview of homophobia and the thing from the 80s, I think. No, well, I guess homophobia, but also just some basic queer history things to know about. Yeah, another reason why I wrote this. Um, no, I don't know if it's another reason. I think this actually happened after. This was a couple years um, after I wrote this. Actually, not when I wrote this. Excuse me. So a couple years after I wrote this, I had this thing where I had lunch with a friend every so often who was from the one of the local churches, and I went to used to go to that church that I don't anymore. And I asked her, "Hey, you're part of the um, administrative board. Can we do something about LGBT things in the church as like a class or a group or something?" And I'm saying they because I don't want to disclose their identity. Um, they brought it to the administration and came back to me and said no. They said no because, quote, we don't want to encourage that lifestyle. And I hate that argument so fucking much because it demonstrates a cowardice to me and an unwillingness to understand anything about queer people in any way whatsoever. The fact that you're still using lifestyle says that a lot more than you think. And it just says you're willing to boil people down to the most base version that you think they are, instead of trying to understand who they are and open up a dialogue with them. And that is horrific to me. It's sad. I want the church to get me, but the church has hit me so many times. Just I try to understand. I try to open up to the church. Church slaps me on the across the face, and I'm done getting metaphorically slapped across the face. It's exhausting to get hurt when you try so hard to be loved by an organization that doesn't want to love you. All right. Yeah, I like how I did this section when I talk about the words we use and how important they are. I'm glad I wrote that because that's a very important thing. Yeah, I agree with this still because the church has so much weight on marriage that it's really hard to get away from it sometimes. It's like, would you guys calm the fuck down about people like holy unions? Calm the fuck down for a minute about that and look at the other things that you could be looking at. Like, for God's sake, the God leader has 7 sacraments. Why are you emphasizing one of them? Marriage is a sacrament, isn't it? I feel like it might be. I hope I'm not wrong on that. It's been a long time since I studied Catholicism, so you're gonna have to excuse me. Um, Yeah, there's traditional and revisionist. They still exist today. I don't know how much the arguments of either side has really changed over the years. I really should want to. Actually, that's kind of a good thing. I should research for the sequel. It would be interesting to find out whether there's new arguments in town or not. Because I'm curious, very curious now. Yeah, this poem is a fucking boss. I swear to God. Oh no! Am I logged in Tumblr right now? I am logged in Tumblr. Why is it not showing me the thing? Is that on my dashboard then? View this Tumblr, please. It doesn't look like the poem here. That's weird. I have to find that poem again. J. Egan. I don't know never anything about the poem, so I'm gonna just throw this into the wind and hope I find something. I don't think I'm finding anything yet. Oh well, I'll have to ignore this for now. I'll come back to this later. Hopefully I can find that poem because I remember it being so fucking good. I just don't remember anything else about it, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the thing with emotions. You remember more about how things make you feel than you remember the thing itself. I remember someone told me, because there was this relative I used to see a lot, who was a very young girl. And my friend, who was the same friend I went to the lunches with, who went to the administration staff, told me children don't remember exact details of things in their childhood, but they do remember how you make them feel. And they remember that, and that sticks with them forever. And that stuck with me because it's true. We remember more about how things make you feel than the thing itself. But back to the piece here. Yeah, because I wanted to do like a both sides kind of deal, looking at both. But now I'm just like, fuck the church. I'm just like, it's the way the church decided to talk about queerness, except for some branches, I think, is mostly broken though. It's mostly broken and mostly, you know, regressive and not helpful. But unfortunately, what else can you do? Oh yeah, the Nashville statement. Fuck me, I remember this bullshit now. It came out when I was writing this thing. I remember that. God. Uh, yeah, it's so fucking funny to me when Christianity rejects polyamory because the Bible is very interesting about polyamory. Polyamory is how you get the fucking 12 tribes, you know? And it's interesting because on one hand, right, the Bible is like polyamory equals Israel. They get Israel from Leah and Rachel and Jacob, of course. But on the other hand, it says that Leah gets jealous or Rachel gets jealous because not enough attention, and then for Samuel's mom is like rejected because she's the lower of the wives or something. It's been a long time since I read anything in the Bible. But yeah, so it's interesting because on one hand, polyamory is advocated for because it's shown as a legitimate form of marriage. But on the other hand, it talks about how maybe don't do polyamory if you're going to be a dick about it. So that is probably worth its own essay, but I don't care enough to write it, frankly. I like polyamory just fine, and I don't feel like arguing for it right now. I'm gonna focus on the title here, which is How to Survive Religious Trauma, is what the goal is of the sequel. So, wish me luck. Yeah, I like how I discussed this issue here. Yeah, because the language Christians use to discuss this is very important. And this Christian gentleman who I asked for his thoughts, that was at the conference I mentioned earlier. That was one of the speakers at the conference. And it was just like, wow, I guess I know how you feel about this. And you think that transgender people is outlandish as a 6 foot tall pink elephant. Wow, what a dickhead. Sometimes you learn what people think in very quick ways, you know? And then you can't look into the same again. Yeah, so one of the things I really wish the church would do is examine the language they use about queer people, because the demonizing is so disgusting and it impacts people's lives. And I wish people understood that better. But for now, the church feels content, most of the church, I should say, feels content with letting letting queer people be the boogeyman. And you don't empathize with the boogeyman, you kill the boogeyman. And that's fucked up. But yeah, I like the guidelines I put here. Those are pretty helpful. I don't remember this at all, this LGBTQism, so this is going to be interesting. Oh, I remember this now. Okay. Yeah, because there's always such a search for a source. It's kind of uncomfortable how much Christians want to. A lot of Christians I know want to look for the source of it, and then find the thing that they can blame for the queerness inside of people. It's kind of awkward and weird. Yeah. The language is that being LGBTQ plus is limited email to L. Yeah, it's still around. Still around. Fuck me. Yeah. While I'm on Earth, the best thing you can do to me and all the LGBTQ plus folks is to treat with respect, not like a burden, not like a person who's faking it, not like someone who hasn't tried hard enough. We need to treat LGBTQ people plus lovingly with human respect. We can discuss Christianity, the Bible, and Jesus without trying to figure out their queerness. Is that so much to ask? Yeah, I really wish people didn't try to figure me out, because I'm really tired of it. I'm tired of having to justify my own existence to people who want me to basically die or fuck off and don't exist anymore. And it's just so exhausting. God, it's one of the most exhausting things I've ever been through, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah, this is a tragedy. It's a shame. Yeah, there's so many. After this recording, there are a fuck ton of anti-transgender bills by actually one of the people who was at the conference I went to in 2017. Not by them explicitly, but the Alliance Defense League, I think they are called. ADL. ADL. Here we go. Oh wait, no, no. Am I thinking of the right one? Yeah, this is it. I think it's it. Maybe. What's this ADL stand for here? Maybe this isn't them. Anyway, I'm trying to think of the Anti-Defamation League. That's not them. I'm trying to think what they're called, but they're like the Christian alt-right version of um, what are those people called? Jesus Christ. The legal group in America, the anti-hate legal group in America. Um, Lambda Legal? No. Their name is not coming to me right now. I'm sorry. Is it ADL that is this? No. Um, hmm. No. Oh well, I can't find it right now. But they're the Christian version of that that group of lawyers who are like stand up for human rights in America. Um, their name is escaping me, but they're basically the Christian version of that, and they've done a lot. I mean, a lot, a fucking lot of anti-transgender bills this year. Like they sponsored them and been like pushing them through, trying to bar trans girls from playing sports for some reason, for fairness or something, when it's really just out of hate. It's just they don't like trans people. They don't want them to be doing shit, and they're trying to outlaw uh, care for trans kids and puberty blockers and shit. It's just like, goddamn. When do you people learn that whenever you do this, you push people away so hard? Like, when do you leave people shut the fuck up and leave us alone? Because that's all I want sometimes. I just want to hide under a rock, like Christians, and just please stop torturing me and leave me the fuck alone. It's exhausting. I keep saying that in this video. I'm so sorry. That it is just that's the word for it. It wards down my soul, and it's just too much sometimes. And right now there's so many goddamn bills that it makes the bathroom bill look tame in comparison, and that's very bad because the bathroom bill was fucking terrible. Yeah. Yeah, I still think this is true. If the gospel is the bread, then Christians have been starving the LGBTQ plus community, and they turn other sources for nourishment. LGBTQ plus people don't want our Christian food anymore. Yeah, I still agree with that statement a lot. I don't want that Christian food anymore. I don't want that shit. Get that shit out of my goddamn throat. I don't want that shit anymore. It's like I've been eating shit all my life, and I look down and like I realize what it is. Like Jesus, this is what I've been ingesting. Fuck that noise. I'm gonna actually get some real goddamn food. That's what it feels like to leave the church, because it feels like you've been conditioned to eat shit, to think it's good that you're eating shit. And you look down one day and you realize what you're doing. So you stop eating shit. That's what it feels like for me as a trans person leaving the church. I don't have to eat shit anymore every day. And just feel it choke down as people hate gay and trans people and just try to, hurt them. I don't have to eat shit anymore. And that's freeing, you know? But anyway. Yeah. The queer pass is a very interesting thing. I have some stories about that, but today is not the day to share them. Yeah, they're looking for bread, but the church hands them a promise of hellfire and lets them starve. Yeah, that I still think that's very true. Yeah, I still think that's true. I yearn for the day when Republicans are not the dominant party in America. Because even though, as of this recording right now, Democrats are in the majority, they're shuffling their feet, not doing bullshit. And it's like, fucking hell. Are you gonna take advantage of the fact that we can't, like, we can do things? Or you're not gonna help us at all? Like, okay, fuck you. And I wish the Democrats in this country would just move their goddamn feet and, you know, help out the marginalized a little bit. Is that too much to ask? God. Mm, yeah. Um, this is a very weird thing to read right now because I'm not a Christian anymore. I'm not anymore, and I don't want to evangelize anymore. I'm done with that. Evangelizing, if you don't know, like, it's so tiring because you have to spend it's basically like spending every minute every day trying not to waste your time and trying to squeeze a little Jesus into people's hearts, and otherwise you're a bad person. That's what it was like for me. And I don't have to worry about being a bad person anymore. Thank God. Like, yeah, it's just like, no, thank you. So reading this is it's giving advice to Christians who want to evangelize this essay that I'm not that person anymore. I remember, yeah, I remember I had a friend. Um, let's not tell that story actually. Yeah, sorry, past Norbez. I'm not part of the we anymore. So yeah, I'm not part of the we anymore. I'm not part of the Christian faith anymore. Excuse me. Sorry. Um, so that was me reading slash reacting to Queer in Public. I want to use some of this and write the sequel, How to Survive Religious Trauma, because I think religious trauma is a very important thing to discuss and how it erodes your soul so much that you start to feel broken even though you're not. It's some fucked up shit. So yeah, I will. I don't know if I have any closing notes. I'm trying to think of something to say. Yeah, these games still fucking roll. Yeah, these are all fucking dope. Yeah, I really have to finish Driver Space 4 Jam. I started it, but I never finished it. I gotta get back to it. Seems like a fucking awesome game, you know? Yeah. Alright. I can't think of anything else to say. I guess to close, I will conclude by saying I hope you found this interesting, at least. Something worth listening to. And it was very depressing reading this. I almost cried a few times because the church just exhausts me so much. And I came face to face with so many things that, you know, hurt me in this essay. And it's depressing because since I wrote this, nothing has really changed, if I'm being honest with you. It feels like nothing's really changed. The church still hates queer people. Queer people still trying to do their own thing and just, survive in a world that fucking hates them. And the church still wants us dead. So, no, just the business as usual. That sucks. But nothing you can do about it. Hopefully, the future has better things because it's looking bleak right now. It really is. Because those anti transgender bills are being pushed right now, it just looks so bleak and it's so depressing to see it. I just want to be left alone. I just want people to please stop hurting us. And that's too much to ask, apparently. And that's sad. I will use that anger to fuel my writing because I am enraged right now by this. Alright. This is Bez. I have recorded my playthrough of Korean Public. I will see you next time.